All right, we're down to the last section of Module 3. This is going to be Section 8, where we're going to talk about creating an outline. An outline will allow you to show the order of importance or the hierarchy within your document if you have different topics. So you may want to use bullets to create that outline, or you may want to use a numbering system. Let me show you how an outline is going to work. I've got my list of names again, and I'd like to actually turn these into an outline. I'd like to have each of these names as a first level in my outline, and then say something about each person as a second level. I'm going to go ahead and turn the numbers on. Now notice if I'm clicked after the first name in my list and I hit the Enter key, I'll get number 2, and notice everything else shifted down. But I really want to have a second level so I can say something about Alan. What I'm going to do is hit the Tab key. Some terms to get familiar with. When you go from a first to a second level, or second to third, so you go down in levels, then that's called demoting. If you go up in levels, that's called promoting. You always use Tab to demote and Shift Tab to promote. Now that I have my A here, I can say something about Alan. I can say he was voted top employee in 2015. Notice if I enter, I stay on the same level. He was also voted top employee in 2014. Again, I'm going to enter and I have number C. Now I'd like to make this a first level again, so I'm going to hold the Shift Tab, and that's going to go back to the left. So Tab goes to the right and demotes, Shift Tab goes to the left and promotes. If I don't want this 2, for example, I'm just going to backspace over it, and I'll get back up to where my insertion point is behind the 2014 like this. So again, I can do the same thing with Bob. If I will hit the Enter key first, and then tab over, I can say something about Bob if I like. Let me show you how this is going to work when you already have paragraphs in place. Let me flip over to our Burke flyer. I'll just switch windows here. Let's say that we have this who we are, buying a home, selling. Those are more like our first levels that we'll have. And then we can have second levels underneath. I'm just going to select from who we are, and I'm going to select all the way down to the end of we're growing here. Now I want to turn this into an outline. Instead of turning on the numbers like I did, notice the next button over is your multi-level list. It lets you create an outline. I'm just going to click on it. Again, here's the current list, which would have a number as the first level and a letter as the second level. You can see that all the way down. Here's where I turn it off in the list library, and then here's some additional choices I could pick from. I'll just stick currently with the one we've got, and now you'll see that it's all numbers. It doesn't recognize that this should be little a because it's all on the same level. So I'm just going to click there and hit the Tab key. See that? And if I come down underneath buying a home, I can make each one of these a second level. See that? Same thing with selling a home. I had 3 different ways to sell a home, and then one under we're growing. So you can always use that to create an outline as well. It's not going to make this line B and this one C because there's no Enter key. The Enter key is at the end of this word deserve here. Now let's say that you didn't want to use this numbering system. Maybe you'd like to use something different. You just saw under the multi-level list that you had several you could pick from, including bullets. So let me go ahead and show you how to actually change the number format for these different levels. First, let me mention the change list level. Whichever level I click on, it's going to change all of the levels to that particular format. So if I chose this one, for example, they're all on the same level now, but they have the same format. So I really didn't want that. I'm going to undo. What I can do is I can come down to where it says Define New Multi-Level List. Here are where the 9 levels are listed, and the way this works is whichever level you're wanting to change, you click on that level. Let's say for level 1, I wanted to have Roman numerals instead. This is the current format, so I can come down to the number style for this level, and I'm going to pick the Roman numerals. I'd also like to change the font size. I'd like to make it a different size, and I'd like to make it a different color. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to click OK out of it, and now notice only level 1 has changed to the Roman numerals. Now I'd like to change my second level. So I'm going to go back to the same place, define new multi-level list. I'm going to click on level 2 and change that style. I'll just pick the small Roman numerals. Notice some other options I have. I can include the level number from level 1 if I want. I can also change the number alignment, which we've talked about, and that's the left, centered, or right over in the space over here. And also I can change the alignment and the text indenting, which has to do with where the number is lined up in relation to the ruler and the text is lined up in relation to the ruler. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and now look at my second levels. So you see you can go through and change each level to make it look any way you like. That's a quick overview of how the outlining is going to work. What I'd like to do now is we do have a practice exercise I'd like you to work on. So I'm going to go ahead and meet you over in section 9, and I'll show you what I want you to do there. That'll wrap up Module 3.
Hi, Molly here. Thanks for watching. If you need additional Word 2016 training, get our free 2-hour course for beginners. Click the Get My Free Course button on the right, and I'll see you next week with additional videos.